Hi Tarot Bumblebees, it's Ethony. Welcome back to my channel. And today I am doing a video response of the tag, How Do You Tarot? And I found this from LadyKnightofAvalon here on YouTube, and I wanted to do this response. These 10 questions were really fun. I have the original video in the description. So let's jump in and answer the question, how do you tarot? The first question is, what do you like about tarot? And my response is, I don't just like tarot, I love tarot. So that is definitely an elevation of the word, and it's very true. I love the tarot. I love that it is a complete system. For me, it represents a living book of life, and I've said that a number of times. We see universal experiences, archetypes, we can reflect. It is a multi-purpose tool. You can use it for divining, for healing, for coaching. There's just, and that's just like 3 of the bazillion ways you can use the tarot. I love that it allows me to study different systems in a system that really speaks to my soul. So while tarot speaks to my soul, I can learn the Kabbalah, I can learn astrology, I can learn numerology, and that's just a few of the things that are in the tarot system. You can build more in depending on the themes. I love that they are miniature art galleries, especially when someone has just like really put so much time and effort into their art and thought about it. And it is just an exquisite form of divination. The second question is, what do you use it for? So I use the tarot in a number of different ways. I am a tarot professional. I read tarot for people professionally. I have clients from all over the world. Hey, how you doing? I also am an author and a tarot author. I am a tarot deck creator. I am a lover of just the cards itself. I read for myself, I read for others. I will use the tarot for magic. I will use it for meditation. Shadow work is a big one with me, and tarot just really leaning into those spaces of myself that I feel need to be brought to the light and need to be healed. So that's a massive way that I use the tarot. I teach students from all over the world in my Tarot Readers Academy. So from my foundations course all the way through to, elemental magic and tarot, spellcasting and tarot, witches runes and tarot. I have been teaching since I was in my 20s, and now I have an academy online, and I'll teach in person as well. I will also get tarot readings from my amazing colleagues and professionals that I found over the years, and friends, because sometimes I need to get out of my own way and have someone tell me like it is without any sort of bias input. And I am also an artist. I don't feel like I am the best artist in the world, but I also love painting different paintings of the tarot, and I have for a really long time. So it's just a wonderful way for me to explore my creativity. The third question is, what is your current go-to workhorse deck, the one that you can read no matter what? So I believe that any Rider-Waite-Smith deck, from the classic all the way through to any interpretation of that deck. I know people say clones, but I don't think a lot of the ones that come out are in fact clones. There are some clones, but anything that comes from that system of tarot, I can read very easily. It is what I learnt with. The first deck that I picked up was not particularly a Rider-Waite-Smith system, or it was, but it had a lot of Greek myth, which is the Mythic Tarot. But then I picked up other decks that were very Rider-Waite-Smith, and that was when I found my kind of flow, and that I could come back to the Mythic Tarot with a lot more, I guess, like information. So I wasn't being so overwhelmed with what was happening in the cards with the myths. I still have that deck. My Druidcraft Tarot, many of you have seen this on many of my videos. I fucking love that deck. It is one of my soul decks for sure. I love the art. The artwork speaks to me. It speaks to my ancestry. I am mostly Irish in background when we did our ancestry. So I love that deck. I love it. I love it. I love it. But any Rider-Waite-Smith is going to really rock my world, or any Rider-Waite-Smith adjacent or inspired, anything of that structure. The fourth question is, what is your personally most difficult deck to work with and why? Mine would be the pip decks. I really struggle with pip decks, and it's not because I don't know numerology or I don't know the system or I'm lazy to learn the system. The way that I read the tarot is through a lot of clairvoyance and a lot of spirit communication with my spirit guides. I use the cards as a way to have that language that it's like my telephone, it's my interpretation, it's the way in which I ask my guides to come through. So if I'm working with a pip deck, I find it very difficult because there's nothing for my guides to confirm with me. There's nothing for in the card to bounce off a psychic hit or an intuitive hit or get more information. And so I find pip decks very difficult because I often dive into the card or something jumps out to me in the artwork that means something more when I'm either reading for a client or, I'm reading with my spirit guides, which is, all the time. My clairs like to bounce off fully illustrated decks, and they like to bounce off thoughtful illustrated decks. I love some decks that are minimal. I have my Bad Bitches Tarot is very minimal, but the symbols in there I understand. It's just more how I read. And for example, if I have a deck that's brand new or that I'm really struggling with, I will revert back to what I know about that card in my memory, and I will envision the Rider-Waite-Smith card in my inner movie screen, and I'll go from there because it is so ingrained in my soul, and I'm so okay with that. It's something that I know so dearly. The other thing that I really struggle with is too many animals in the deck. So I actually really do love one animal deck that is quite old, the Animal Tarot. And that I feel was like really thoughtful. Oh, and the one that Eugene and Barbara Moore did, the Animal Totem Tarot. Those two are really fucking beautiful tarot decks as far as I'm concerned with animals in it. I like them because the reason why the animal's in there is really thoughtful. For example, in the Animal Totem Tarot, the Queen of Cups is a moose. And I learned that moose can swim under fucking water by reading why that animal was chosen for that card. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like there was real thought put into that. And the same with the other one, the Animal Tarot, I believe it is. I'm going to show some images of it. And they're just really thoughtful. And my Penumbra Tarot has animals and liminal animals and spirits, and that's great too, but it's not all the way through. I really struggle with all animal decks or very minimal animal decks, because I feel like, yes, we are part of the animal kingdom. I'm a fucking witch. Like I have animals tattooed on me. I have dogs. I fucking love nature. But when I'm trying to read for people and I'm trying to get my clairs to like connect things with people, it's very difficult for me to do so when it's all animals. But that's just me personally. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's not beautiful. And I have tons of these decks. It's just more that for me, I struggle with that. The fifth prompt is, which deck or decks have you not gotten around to study, but you really want to study? And there are two that really jumped out for me. And the first one is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. And I feel like I'm going to be constantly studying this tarot forever. Burnaby is incredible and just a kind, beautiful, thoughtful, wonderful, intelligent person. And I love what she has created. I love that she took so much time to learn her art. She put so much work into the decks and created all these videos, all these resources, the huge books. It's phenomenal the way that she has created and steps into the world and shares her work. I have all of the books and I have two different copies of the deck. I have the black and white, the first edition, and then I have the colored one. And I think I'm going to be studying that for the rest of my life. And I love to use that when I'm reading for myself, because it really forces me to look things from a different way, because Burnaby and I have very different ways in which we like come to the tarot, and I love that. I love someone who's going to challenge me. The second one, and you're probably going to see this on my best of 2023 is the Nameless Tarot, or the Nameless one from Zia Hunt. And I can't even, like, I'm so speechless about how incredible that deck is. I found this from Racine, and if you don't follow our 513, like, what are you doing? And I love her. I had a massive tarot crush on her before I even started my own channel. And she showed it in her collection video, and I literally ran to my computer to purchase it. And it is an investment deck. It was not cheap, and shipping to Canada was, you know, like it was a lot, but it was not a penny, a dime, a loony, a toonie wasted. It is incredible. I've actually started reading with it in my gratitude journal, in my daily journals, and it is fucking phenomenal. I got the big pack, of course I did, and the book is so unbelievably beautiful. Like the work that is just put into it is phenomenal, and it's very minimalistic. Like, I'm not saying that I can't read with minimalistic decks, but it is just like so rich in symbology, and I can't even with that deck how much I love it. So I just got it right before the year ended, so it's really a 2023 deck for me, but it is phenomenal. I can't wait, and I've been really enjoying getting to know that deck. The 6th prompt is, what is your preferred deck style, and has it changed over time? I would say that my preferred deck style is definitely Rider-Waite-Smith, the structure of that tarot, and I believe that is a system. And if you are sort of unfamiliar with the different systems of tarot, if you're unfamiliar with anything that I'm kind of talking about within regards to lingo, I do have a Tarot for Beginners series, and I definitely recommend you watch the second video. In that, the first one is about oracles versus tarot, and then the second video is the structures, like the different systems of tarot. So go watch those. I'll pop that in the description box below as well, my Tarot for Beginners series. I love the Rider-Waite-Smith. I love it so much. It is just, like I said, it's everything to me. So that hasn't changed at all. I used to hate the original version with the very stark colors, and now I actually can read with it, but I prefer like different versions, colorations, especially the Centennial Pam. Love, love, love that. Anything witchy, magical, and I just love anything like that is going to really speak to me. I love a lot of decks for a lot of different reasons. So I might love a really cute pastel deck that has a really amazing art theme, and then I might love a very dark, serious deck. So for me, it's not really a specific style that I stick to artistically. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, by the way, a lot, and I watch a lot of the tarot community. And one thing that when I watch a lot of these videos of like the decks that I'm working with, or the decks that I've loved this, you know, year and all that, I really struggle with abstract art. I have gone to art galleries and things like that, and anything that's like too abstract or modern is like Jackson Pollock is like too hard for me. I can't do it. I'm more like pre-Raphaelites, you know, that kind of artwork is really going to speak to me. So there are some beautiful decks out there that I just cannot connect with because of that reason. And yeah, it's just too much for me. If it's too abstract, if it's too like, what is there kind of thing, or like photo decks that are just like a landscape or a singular photo, unless it is like the Somnia Tarot or other decks that have been done like that very fucking well, or the Tarot of the Drowned World, which is incredible. I'm not including those, but like if it's just like, oh, here's a tree and that's the Empress, it's like that I really struggle with. The 7th prompt is, what is the question you'd never ask the tarot? And I think I've probably asked a lot of questions, especially when I was learning, that I probably wouldn't ask now. But mostly I don't ask things that are not in my professional wheelhouse. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to tell you what is the best way to get custody of your kids. I am not a financial planner, so I'm not going to tell you to invest in this stock versus that stock. I am not a doctor, so I'm not going to prescribe that anything or diagnose anything, because that is just, all those things are professionally just so unethical, and it crosses the boundaries for me. But I can do things like, I can ask, for example, what is the outcome of this legal hearing or custody hearing? What is the likely outcome Or do I need to get a second opinion on doctors for this diagnosis? Or how can I support my healing with my diagnosis? You know, things like that. So there's always a way in which to empower someone to make the most out of a situation and bring that back to about how they can move through the world and see the world and be in the world. But I will not do those things that I mentioned at the beginning. And I will also not do things like, how do I get this person back? I will dive into, well, why do you want to get this person back? You know, there's always something else to consider. I feel like I'm very fortunate with the training that I've had outside of the tarot. And I've said this a million times. If you're going to be a professional, I do believe that you will never stop learning. And for me, I have never stopped learning. So I have learned different systems. I have done coaching. I have done therapy. I have learned how to do those things for people. I have taken lots of different courses. I have taken courses at a university and at colleges and through online learning. So there's lots of things that you can do to increase your professional toolkit of how to help people, because people will come to you with lots of really interesting and sometimes very heavy things. So I have always done that, but I also know where the line is, and I feel like that really is an important thing to know, that you should know for yourself where your line is. And I think my work in the corporate world in HR really, helped that. The eighth prompt is, when you read for yourself, what questions do you ask? And I often ask for different points of view around situations. Maybe how to get out of my own way, or what am I not considering about the situation that I need to? What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing? What do I need to know? These are all things I'll ask the tarot and I'll ask my guides, because I want to use it as a reflective tool and as a way to know myself better and to heal as much as I can about myself. Decks, as I mentioned, that get me out of my own way, that I don't necessarily know very well, or that are not based on a Rider-Waite-Smith system, will be decks that I will be drawn to, so that I can really read the guidebook and be led by what is in the card itself and not my preconceived notions of what I know about the tarot. So that's definitely something that I will partner with the questions that I use. But a really good one is for daily readings is, what do I need to know today, or what do my spirit guides want to tell me today, and kind of go from there. The ninth prompt is, after everything you know about the tarot, is there still something that you feel like you don't know or that you'd like to know? Is there something you want to study or research or learn? And as I mentioned before, I really feel like I am a universal student. I feel like I'm never going to stop learning about the tarot and my relationship with the universe and people and healing and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's something that ever stops. For me, at some point, I may take on the Thoth system in a more serious way. I mentioned that I have a soul deck in the Liminal Tarot, and that is a Thoth-based deck, but I have never really done a deep dive into reading a lot of Thoth material and kind of going from there. So I've always been a little, I'm not really drawn, to be honest, to the art of the original Thoth. I think it's beautiful. I think Frida Harris did an amazing job, and I think that Crowley created something incredible, but it's just never drawn me in. It's never been something that I've gone, oh, I want to learn about that in regards to the artwork. It feels very standoffish for me. And that hasn't changed, but I'd love to learn the system a lot more. But when you're constantly doing readings for people, or you're creating, or you're writing, and this is your life, you're like doing the thing, and I'm very blessed and very thankful for all of that. I don't have a lot of time to sit down and kind of crack open a new system, but maybe one day I will. The 10th prompt is, what advice would you give to someone who's just started to learn the tarot? This is a great question. So I would definitely say, enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. I remember picking up my first deck. I remember the feeling of going, what is this? I found something that speaks to my soul. That excitement, it was the same when I found the craft. And just devouring information and highlighting books and getting as much information as I could get my hands on. And I really wanted to learn everything really quickly too. And I get that. I'm very impatient. I'm a Gemini, but also just enjoy it. I've been reading the cards now, oh my gosh, for so long. It'll be nearly 25 years. Yes, I just aged myself. I'm turning 40 this year. And I just love everything about it. I want to learn everything. I want to know everything, and I still do. So it's not like it's something that you kind of like one and done if it's really going to be your life's work or something that you're drawn to work with for a long time. And it should be fun. Like, don't take everything too fucking seriously. Like, I mean, I'm definitely not that person. I know I come on here and I talk, and sometimes I'm a little bit more serious, but don't take life too seriously. Let things be an adventure. If you get something wrong, oh well, you got it wrong. Like, whatever, allow yourself to be human in this experience, but please have fun. It should always be fun. Also, don't feel like you have to have every single tarot deck, or have like, you aren't a serious tarot person unless you have like 20 decks. It's like, that's bullshit. You can have one deck and only ever use one deck for your entire life and be a very serious tarot person. It's not about what you have or how much you have. It's about what it means to you and how you use the tools in the world and for yourself. And that's really all that matters. But yeah, don't feel like you have to go break the budget. Don't feel like you have to go max out your credit card or buy every deck. I mean, I feel like I tell myself that a lot. Like, don't go and get every deck. I've already thought about like a few while I've been recording this that I want to go buy. So like, it is a thing. I get it. But just enjoy, take your time, dive into it, enjoy the fun of it and discovering new things, and don't break your bank. So those are my How Do You Tarot responses. I'm going to put the links to the video that I found and the other one that I found, a response that I found, in the description box. How do you tarot? Do you have a VR to this video? Let me know in the comments below, or if you're going to and you do it later, come back. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to answer any of these questions too in the comments, I would love to hear from you. Really, I would. And I will see all of you tarot bumblebees next time.